I have finished Shadows for Silence in the Forests of Hell. What an insane title. And let's talk about it. So number one, I like how in this book it kind of gives an introduction to like the planet that we're on and gives a little wider Cosmere look at it. I just think that's really cool. So this is Threnody, which is a very cool name of a planet. It's in the Threnodite system. But some of the lore that I got, I wrote it down and I was like, whoa, what? It said, after the shattering, so like Adonalsium splitting, right? Odium, I've heard this name before, Odium clashed with and mortally wounded the shard Ambition, which later splintered elsewhere. So splintering is when a shard splits again? Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Unless it's a spoiler, then don't correct me. But then it said Threnody, the planet has 2 continents, and one has been consumed by the evil, which feasts on souls. But the other continent is like still new and kind of frontiery, and the people turn into cognitive shadows when they die. So there's like ghosts walking around everywhere, which are what the shades are, right? So very interesting. And then it said that if there's excessive investiture, excess investiture can allow someone to stay a shadow, which is that's what happened to Kelsier, right? That's why he was able to maintain, because he had ascended, perhaps? Is that how that works? Like if you've been invested with investiture, like more than normal, you can kind of like stay behind a little bit, a la like Patrick Swayze in Ghost. Is that how that is? Anyway, I loved this. I thought this was really cool. It was like dark and like kind of scary. And then the postscript, this was something I thought was awesome. In the postscript, it said that the reason that he wrote this was to be a part of George R.R. Martin's anthologies. How cool is that? Especially given that I've said this before, my favorite book series of all time, as of now, is A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. So when I found this, I was like, wait, Brandon Sanderson? Like George R.R. Martin asked him, like, hey, do you write short stories? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. They work together. That's cool. But anyway, this story. The fact that there's a woman named Silence, I was like, that's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. That's like very ninja-esque, like an assassin. Also, there's probably something else there that there wasn't actually. I think it said something in the postscript like the genealogy. There was a woman named Silence, and I was like, awesome. Ooh, wait a second. But this woman is such a badass, dude. Like, she's a bounty hunter. She's the White Fox who's been a bounty hunter for like a decade, but nobody knows it's her. And she has this inn that's like protected from the shades, which are like the bad ghosts at the end of Ghost, That was pretty cool. And that silver kind of keeps them at bay. And she has like a silver knife because let's do this. I liked a lot the idea that like the shades aren't super going to mess with you unless you like run really fast and like freak them out like a dog, or if you draw blood. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And the fact that Silence has like crossbow bolts made of silver to like fight the shades, that's cool. And she took in the Sibruki, the little girl. Sibruki being this little girl whose family was completely murdered by Chesterton and his gang, I thought was really cool because it kind of reminded me of O-Ren Ishii from Kill Bill, And she even said that like she was under the bed and then they got killed and like the blood ran into her hair and stuff. And I was like, ooh, we're getting dark, dude. Well done, Mr. Sanderson. So I thought that was cool. William Ann is Silence's daughter, and they both went to go take out Chesterton's gang. Now, I was like, okay, how are you going to do this? Because if you draw blood, the shades are coming for you. They're just waiting. And the scene where the first guy, like they poison him first, but the first guy she has to strangle, I was like, holy shit. Like they're watching her as she's doing it. I was like, man, if that dude had thin skin, or if she was a little too rough, like one drop of blood, game over. And she's doing it and like looking at them all as it's happening. Ooh, yikes. And even more yikes, she has a burlap bag like covered in tar on the inside. It just puts it over dudes' heads and smashes their heads in with hammers. Holy shit. This woman is hardcore, man. And then she beat Chesterton to death with a rock. And then like dozens of shades showed up, yikes. And the fact that if a shade touches you, you like wither, like it literally like sucks the life out of you, like Dementor style. Yeah, but like physically, oof. And when her daughter gets her throat slit, and she's like standing over her, and she's like, oh, God, I wish I had my knife so I can at least go down swinging. Again, what a badass this lady is. Also, they said bitch twice. I was like, oh, whoa. It was funny. There were a few things in this that I was like, man, okay, we're kind of getting into some George R.R. Martin territory. And then at the end, I found out he did do this for George R.R. Martin. I was like, okay. But the fact that William Ann got her throat slit, and then the shades showed up and killed the dude that did it, and then she starts bleeding out, just... And then Theopolis tried to get Silence killed by the shades in her own inn. Damn. And her grandma, the one that she says the whole time that she hated, is the one that saved her. She's just like hanging out as a shade. Ooh. This is one that I think would be really cool to see like in live action. You know? Like this was really cool. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this one a lot. So yeah, next up is Six of the Dusk. And I'm pumped.